Hey guys, so welcome to my next video. We're going to be talking about autism today. So my son is now 6 years old. He was diagnosed with regressive autism at age 2. It came out of nowhere. I'm not going to get into my personal beliefs and the cause and everything. I just want to get straight into just autism. So the developmental pediatrician, oh, look at my hair. What a hot mess. Sorry, guys. Just got out of the shower. The developmental pediatrician that diagnosed my son told me that there was nothing I could do. I would just have to get used to this. He was diagnosed as borderline severe autism, and just get him therapy, and there wasn't anything that we could really do. So, of course, I was a hot mess for a couple days, because what parent wants to hear that about their child? So, but then I didn't accept that. I didn't believe that there was really nothing that I could do, especially since he was perfectly neurotypical beforehand. So with the help of my son's father and his family, we started digging and decided to start trying some things in the biomedical and holistic field. So let's just get into it. Sorry, it's hard to know where to start because we've done so much. So, okay, the first thing that we did was we decided to go dairy-free because we read that dairy causes inflammation. So we were like, we might as well try it. To be honest, at, first glance, we didn't really see like a huge difference when we went dairy-free. It was when we went gluten-free that we started seeing a difference. So my son would wake up in the middle of the night for hours on end. His sleeping was terrible. Like, I literally put him to bed. He'd be awake 4 or 5 hours later, be awake for 3, 4, 5 hours, go back to sleep for another 2 hours. It was a mess. When, sorry, my lips are really chapped. Let me just do one of these. I know my videos aren't very professional, but I'm not a professional kind of person. So we went gluten-free. Within 3 days, he slept through the night for the first time in a long time. Oh yeah, I'm getting all pretty for my YouTube. I haven't drank enough water today, so my lips are chapped. But anyway, so he slept through the night for the first time. That's when I really started getting even more interested in like biomedical and holistic and nutrition and all that stuff. So then we started seeing some holistic and biomedical doctors. Diet, I will say, is the staple of this. I mean, you really have to have a good diet in these children because most, and even adults, but specifically in the case of, kids on the spectrum, usually their gut is a mess, and the gut is considered the second brain of the body. So if their gut's a mess, it could cause brain fog. So I really, really strongly recommend doing a, at minimum, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, GMO-free, as organic as possible diet. That is the staple. The best diet you could usually do, depending on the child, is the GAPS diet. It is a little high in histamines, so if your child is sensitive to histamines, you might have to do like a modified version, like the SCD diet. But definitely look into the GAPS diet. We haven't been able to do full GAPS. We've done modified GAPS, and I can tell you right now that it helped. It just, my son goes back and forth between my house and his father's house, so it did get lost along the way, but we are starting it back up again because I saw a significant improvement on the GAPS diet. My son's, I don't want to say he's a picky eater, but he loves his protein. He'll eat pretty much any kind of protein, any kind of fruit. Vegetables, I hand him a vegetable and he'll start dry heaving because he's so dramatic. But when we started the GAPS diet, it was the first time he ate squash, he ate zucchini, he ate a bunch of different kinds of vegetables. And I was just like, oh my God. And then the minute we fell off the diet, he stopped. So diet is key. Diet does matter. So once again, in order for this to like really, what I'm about to tell you, like really help a lot, you need to work on the diet first. So I have notes. Again, I'm a note taker. So let's see where I can go to. So let's just start off with testing. All the testing we've done. Look at this. Testing is not easy. Some of it is urine testing, some of it is stool testing, some of it is hair testing, some of it is blood. I personally, I used to go with my son to do the blood test when he was younger, but now he's 4 feet tall. I'm only 5 feet. He's very strong, so I just have his father do it now because there's no, I can't hold, with my son, I would have to like hold him down, and I just physically can't anymore. But so the younger you start, the better. Okay, there's a lot of testing to be done, but all of this is important, and you can't do it all at once. It needs to be spread out. So first, before you do any kind of testing, I recommend finding a doctor, and not a mainstream doctor. I'm talking a biomedical doctor in your area. We've seen many. We've seen Dr. Michael Ellis, Dr. Newbrander, Dr. Kelman. He was just specifically thyroid. And right now, we've seen more than that. But right now we've been with Dr. Nancy O'Hara in Connecticut for a little over a year, I want to say, or just about a year. And we've seen the most improvement with her. So methylation, you need to test the methylation system. If the methylation system isn't working properly, everything goes hand in hand with this kind of stuff. Oh, and real quick side note, even if you try something and it doesn't work, because a lot of this is unfortunately like trial and error. If you try something and it doesn't work, try it for a couple weeks. If it doesn't work, you could stop it, but it might work again later. So with the methylation system testing, if the methylation system isn't up to par, a lot of doctors will recommend MB12 injections, which we did with my son years ago, and we didn't really see any effect. So we stopped. We recently started them again, and now we're seeing effect. So the more the body heals, you have to go back to other stuff that you've tried in the past that didn't work then, because it might help and work now. So methylation testing, mitochondria testing. Mitochondria, from what I know, is it could be hereditary. I've never gotten my mitochondria tested, so I'm not really sure, but mitochondria is important for cell health. Also, just so you know, I'm not a doctor. I have no degree. I am not giving medical advice. I am giving opinion and my personal experience. So please, again, find a biomedical and or holistic doctor in your area to do all of this and to go over everything with you. Mitochondria. Okay. Genetic mutations is big. My son has the MTHFR mutation, copy C677T. And what that specific mutation does is that it inhibits his detoxification process, the detoxification system in his body. So he can't detox like somebody who doesn't have the mutation. And therefore, his body easily builds up heavy metals and toxins and adjuvants and all that nasty stuff in his body. So that's why we have to keep him on like a super clean diet, organic. We don't take him, in grass that was sprayed with pesticides. Like that stuff is really important. So genetic mutations. He also has the CBS mutation. He has MAO mutation. He has a lot of mutations. So your doctor will go over all of those mutations with you. And if you can't find a good doctor right away, we've switched a million times. One doctor might be good for one thing. You get all the information, you switch to another one. Don't give up just because you don't like one doctor. Yeast overgrowth in the gut. This is huge. Yeast overgrowth is really hard to get rid of, but it is possible. It causes brain fog. It causes sleep disturbances, hyperactivity, stimming, all of that. That's what it causes from the gut. Once again, the gut is really important in all of this stuff. So you definitely have to test for yeast overgrowth. That's a stool test. Some of this testing you can do at home, but before you do any home testing, I can't stress this enough. See a doctor first, and then you could order stuff online. Heavy metals. Heavy metals is also huge. How does one get heavy metals in their body? A lot of things. Deodorant has aluminum in it for Christ's sake, vaccines, a lot of water has fluoride in it. That's a neurotoxin, not a heavy metal, but still, you get my point. So, and especially if you have the MTHFR mutation that my son has, you can't detox this stuff and it builds up and also causes brain fog and, neurological disorders. With the heavy metal test, you can do yourself at home. We did, I think it was Doctor's Data. You can order it to Hair Test. You get the test in the mail, you cut a couple pieces and you send it in and they send you the results. It's Amy Yasko's website. You could look on her website. Definitely go to a neurologist and test for silent seizures. We did that. Everything I'm saying, we've done. We tested twice, right when he was diagnosed. And then again, like 2 years later, my son does not have silent seizures, so we don't have to worry about that. But it is important to test for that. Vitamins and mineral deficiencies. We did that through the doctor, and we also did it, through ordering stuff online. Definitely food and environmental allergies you have to test for, because that could, cause overload as well. My son's allergic to, extremely allergic to ragweed. He's allergic to gluten, and he's allergic to dairy, among a couple other things, but those are his main three. Free floating copper in the brain. This is important because this can cause mental retardation if it gets to be too much. So I forgot the specific number that you're only supposed to have a certain amount of free floating copper in your brain. And my son's was double that. And we ended up detoxing from that and we saw results. So free floating copper in the brain, definitely get the thyroid tested, whether you're hypo, that was the first thing we actually tested for. The first doctor we saw was Dr. Kelman in Manhattan. And that's when I wasn't fully on board yet with the whole biomedical thing. I was interested. It was right after we changed his diet, but I was so freaking out about natural medicine and stuff because he made a natural compound that's supposed to help him. And oh God, it was a mess, but it did help. And his thyroid's okay now. You have to test for Lyme's disease and also co-infections. So, I'm going to keep saying this is really important, but honestly, it's all important. It's all important. Get your child's titers tested to see what, viruses and diseases and stuff that they're already immune to, because you get a lot of immunity through breast milk if you breastfed. Bacteria in the gut, good bacteria, bad bacteria. We had a C. diff infection that was caused, we didn't know at first, and it caused my son to regress completely, and we were freaking out, and we finally got his stool tested, and we found out he had a C. difficile infection in his gut. So definitely check gut bacteria. You need to find a special doctor for this next one. It's PANS or PANDAS. That's a little bit harder to diagnose because it mimics autism, except the child gets more violent, and there's only they have outbursts and flares and stuff like that. My son doesn't have that because we did test for it, so I don't know too much about that. So I'm not gonna, talk about that too much. They're oxalates in their body. They have oxidative stress. You could do that. You could definitely get an oat test. You can order it online through the Great Plains Lab. You might need a doctor's signature for that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's Great Plains Lab and it's the oat test. Do stool tests for pathogens. You could also do that on Amy. You could get a lot of this stuff on Amy Yasko's website. Just so even if you want to do this before you see a doctor or while you're waiting for the doctor, just so you have an idea of what's going on, so you could present it to the doctor, so he could go over all of it with you, because biomedical doctors are extremely expensive. Mold toxicity, that's big too. They're all big, but definitely mold toxicity. Hold on, I'm thirsty. Vitamin D levels. Iron panel, cholesterol. Too little cholesterol actually makes your brain fried. So definitely check that. Check their metabolic panel. Homocysteine levels. Ammonia. Definitely ammonia in the brain. Definitely not good. And it could, oh God. I keep saying this is so important, but I can't stress enough that all this stuff is extremely important if you want I'm not going to guarantee that anyone's going to, heal their child of autism, but it is possible to lessen the symptoms. So real quick, with my son, so he used to do head banging. He would stim like crazy. He wouldn't respond to his name. He wouldn't make eye contact. He would wake up, all hours of the night. He's had violent outbursts. He didn't even understand how to play on the playground properly. He couldn't pay attention ever. Like, he had stranger danger. He was severe autistic, like now after 4 years, he's not healed, but, and he was not completely nonverbal too. He was verbal before he regressed. And then he went from, putting 2 words together to back to baby babble. Now at age 6, he is not fully, I wouldn't consider him fully verbal, but he says words now. He said his first real word since he regressed 4 years ago, Mother's Day last year, and he said mom, and it was the best thing ever. He literally woke up saying words that day. So, there is rewards to doing all of this. It's long, it's expensive, it's frustrating, but it's very rewarding, especially if your child's nonverbal and you hear that first word. Anyway, zinc levels. Definitely check your water at home. I mean, I never drank tap water, but you need to remember that your child bathes in tap water and showers in tap water and washes their hands with tap water. So definitely check your tap water. And also check your home for lead, because lead can cause mental retardation and neurological disorders. There's cerebral folate and their glutathione levels. Now, glutathione is the number 1 antioxidant in your body for detoxing heavy metals, which my son has low glutathione. So add that to the MTHFR mutation and you're a mess. Check liver function. Definitely check for parasites. Parasites are big, because if your child has parasites, that means the parasites you could give your child all the supplements in the world, but if the child has parasites in their body, the parasites are getting most of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients and just sucking them dry. So definitely check parasites. B vitamin levels, omega-3. I have another piece of paper. And then on top of all this, I still fully believe in therapy. With my son, he goes to school, a special program. He does ABA, he has OT, he has speech. And then at home, we have more speech. We don't do ABA at home anymore, but we do like music therapy with this woman named Jammin' Jen. Some of you may have heard of her. She's been featured on The Real Housewives of New Jersey a bunch of times. I absolutely love her, but it's impossible to get her. She's been with us since before my son was even diagnosed. So a long time. Just when we knew he was about to be diagnosed. So, and our music therapy integrates speech, OT, and ABA. So I definitely fully believe in therapy as well. Let's see if I didn't go over anything. Leaky gut. You get the gist. So I pretty much went over all the testing that we've done. I might be forgetting 1 or 2. So now with my son, like I said, he's not fully healed, but he doesn't headbang anymore. He could play on the playground. His receptive language, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say is about 90%. When we started, I know it, more comes with age as well, because we started when he was 2 and he's 6 now, but I truly don't feel that he would be where he is today if we hadn't done all of this. And thankfully, I have a good support system. My son's father and I are not together, but his family is amazing, and they help with so much stuff with our son, including financially, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So I am very, very thankful for them. Even though, me and my son's father aren't together, we co-parent decently well, but I speak to his mother almost every day. Sometimes I fall off on supplements, stuff like that, and she lights a fire under my ass and just reminds me what I'm doing it for. That's for my son and how much progress we've made and all that. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, I'm going to go over the specific supplements that we use for Jack. I'll be back.